Hey everyone. Today's post is kind of an interesting one because I've just been reflecting on what I'm doing here. And I said I was going to do a video post every day for the next year, so that means 365. I'm like on number 10 right now. And already in the last couple of days, I feel this question coming up like, why are you doing this? Why am I doing this? Why should anybody listen? Right? Why should you listen? It's one thing to keep a video journal and have it in your computer for some day down the road when you might watch it. It's another thing to put it on the internet and say, I'm sharing this with the world. I'm sharing this with my friends, with anybody who wants to look. And it's really been coming up for me, why would anybody else care? Why should you care? And then as I was thinking that through, what came for me was, I was just thinking back over the last several days, ever since I started this blog, and I kind of was like realizing that every post I've done so far, I'm kind of giving an answer to a question that I used to have, but no longer have. So it's like my answers instead of my questions. And I think that's why it was starting to feel like, what's the point? Why should anybody care? Right? Nobody wants to hear my answers to my own questions that I'm done answering. And so then from there, I started to think through, well, what's really the value of doing something like this? How does this bring value into the world? How does it bring value to me? And what came up for me is that all of us have dilemmas every day of our lives, most of us anyway. We have these questions. Sometimes it's like just little daily dilemmas, little things within the day. Sometimes it's big things, big questions of life that don't seem to be resolving themselves. And one of the things that I've truly come to believe just through my experience is that every single dilemma, every single problem, every single what we would consider obstacle, adverse situation contains some sort of revelation within it. There's a gold mine in there somewhere. That's just my experience. If I can accept the problem and not try to fix it, like right now, right? I could just start being honest. I'm wrestling with money issues, right? That's something that's in my life. Certainly not in dire straits. I'm not out on the street, as you can see by the lovely sunroom in which I'm sitting. But I'm also pretty vague on how I'm going to make a living, how I'm going to support our daughter. A lot of that stuff is up in the air, and it's super fun in some ways. And at the same time, it feels like there's this wall I've just been walking against for a long time. And I haven't found the door. And questions of purpose, questions of what's my life really about? And if I come here and talk about those things, it brings up risk. It brings up the possibility that I might start talking about my family, my family who might very well be watching this video, my parents, my siblings, family dynamics. Most of our most of our problems, most of our sort of deep-seated issues that we have to wrestle with throughout life come from our formative years with our families, with our parents. And so unpacking that stuff inevitably involves looking at, what your father represented in your life, what your mother represented in your life, how they imprinted you, what was their emotional life like that we may have absorbed. And all of a sudden it's like, well, can I say that on the internet? I don't know. But I think if I don't, then this is going to be 365 days of Robin talking about stuff that's not really relevant for him anymore. And that would be a shame, and that's not why I started this. I started this because I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that everything in the universe happens to support us. And I know that whatever it is an invitation to something greater. A problem is like the first way that the universe tries to bring abundance into your life. It's like it gives you this problem so that you look at it and then either not fix it, not like the ego doesn't fix it, but it's like, what do we learn by like letting the underlying feeling be there without the judgment of this is a problem? How much can we breathe into areas of discomfort and what's really there? What's really underneath this money issue? I feel like my value I'm not receiving my value. I'm not giving my full value. I'm not living my full value. What's that about? Underneath, and I don't have the answer to that, but that's a dilemma that I'm actively in. That's some shit that matters now. And living that truly, giving that, not in like I want to take all my psychological and emotional baggage and toss it on the internet to be an exhibitionist about my, trauma or whatever. Like, that's not the point. It's much more about knowing the answer is within me and then letting it be seen, letting it actually get out of my head instead of like tinkering in my head with the issue and then presenting to the world my answers, which is what the ego would love, is to be able to present, look at all the things I've fixed, look at all the ways I've become enlightened, which is, I think, why the last 9 days I've been kind of going, this is wrong, this is not, why should anybody give a shit? What I've said is like true, and it's honest expression, but it's not real anymore. So it feels like, I don't know, it feels like when you read a self-help book from like 1981 and you're like, I think I'm past it. And it's like, so that's where I'm at with this today. And I think what I'm saying to you is, and I want to just also acknowledge, I'm so appreciative of those of you who are watching these. If you're watching this video right now, we're 9 minutes in. It's really incredible to have people receiving this from me, because that's part of what creates the movement. Part of what creates the movement through a dilemma is that contact, that ability to give and receive and have dialogue in a kind of spiritual sense of energy, and having that actually be what this is all about for me. I think that's what I'm coming around to, is that that's what this is actually all about for me. And I am immensely grateful to those of you who are listening now. I will continue to be grateful. And the fact is, I suspect that what I'm going to be doing is coming onto these posts and wrestling with dilemmas, or just sitting with them, potentially without solving them. Me, Robin, my ego loves to tell you the solution, tell me the solution. It loves to say, here's a problem, here's a great way to fix it. Steps 1, 2, 3. Relax, follow, change, right? And I just can tell that that's not really real. And that for this to be real, I have to be real. I have to be honest. I have to come here and give something of where I really am, something that I really feel, something that's actually affecting me now, and let that be the content. So I think that's all I got for today. My dilemma was certainly about this post and what am I doing, and feeling like I was just prepping and getting kind of in a very like superficial way, just getting ready to do another post because I had said I was going to do a post. Well, who the fuck cares? Who cares? The only reason to do a post is because there's something real here that needs to be expressed. So, again, thanks so much. We're almost at 12 minutes now. You're still listening. I appreciate you deeply. And this is going to be a ride. It's one of my challenges is like, just give the world who you are. Don't present. Don't gift wrap it and put it in don't put fancy clothes on it and just give it a perfect little ego package. Like, just give who you are. And I'm really realizing that that's what this is about. And so, again, love you all. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you again.